Hi class, today we are working on lesson 1.11 in your GoMath textbook. So I need you to tear out page 69 in your GoMath textbook. If you don't have it, pause the video, go get your page, and then come back. Okay, we're going to continue to practice subtracting using place value. Okay, our direction state, we're going to estimate, then find the difference. So first, let's do some estimation. So let's round to the nearest hundred. 595 rounded to the nearest hundred is 600. 286 rounded to the nearest hundred is 300. Remember, I'm showing my work because that's what good mathematicians do. You could also be doing this in your math journal. That's acceptable as well. 600 minus 300 is 300. So I'm estimating that the difference is going to be about 300. Okay, now let's subtract and find the real difference. We start in our ones. 5 minus 6, can you do it? No, you cannot, because 5 is smaller than 6. So we need to go to our neighbor to borrow so we can regroup. Go to my neighbor. They have 9 tens. They're going to give me one of those tens. So now they have 8 tens. Borrowed a 10 over here, so I regroup from 5 ones to now 15 ones. 15 minus 6 is 9. 8 minus 8, 0. And 5 minus 2 is 3. Now, again, we are good mathematicians, so I'm going to go backwards to check my work. Does 9 plus 6 equal 15? Yes. Does 0 plus 8 equal 8? Yes. And does 3 plus 2 equal 5? Yes. My answer is correct. Number 3. Let's round and subtract to get our estimation. 728 rounded to the nearest hundred is 700. 515 rounded to the nearest hundred is 500. 700 minus 500 is 200. We're estimating that our difference is going to be about 200. Let's start in our ones. 8 minus 5, 3. 2 minus 1, 1. 7 minus 5, 2. We didn't have to regroup here. I want you to think about it. Why did we not have to regroup on this problem? Hopefully you recognize that all of the numbers on top are larger than the numbers underneath them. So there was no need to regroup. Let's go backwards and check our work. Does 3 plus 5 equal 8? Yes. Does 1 plus 1 equal 2? Yes. Does 2 plus 5 equal 7? Yep. Our answer is correct. Okay. Number 4. Let's round. 543 rounded to the nearest hundred is 500. 307 rounded to the nearest hundred is 300. 500 minus 300 is 200. So I'm estimating that my difference will be about 200. Okay, I'm going to start in my ones. 3 minus 7. I can't do it because 3 is smaller than 7. So I need to go to my neighbor for some help. My 4 tens turns into 3 tens. And the 10 I borrowed comes over here to my ones. And now I have 13 ones. 13 minus 7 is 6. Very good. 3 minus 0 is 3. And 5 minus 3 is 2. So let's go backwards and check our work. Does 6 plus 7 equal 13? Yes. Does 3 plus 0 equal 3? Yes. Does 2 plus 3 equal 5? Yes. Okay, look at number 5. Number 5 has 2 zeros. You have not learned subtracting across zeros yet, but you will the following week. So I'm going to show you how to do this, but you are not expected to know how to do this until next week. So I'm going to show you. So first I'm going to round to get my estimate. So 600 is already rounded. 453 rounds to 500. 600 minus 500 is 100. So I'm estimating that my difference will be about 100. Now, let me take you through these steps. 0 minus 3, I cannot do that. 0 is smaller than 3, so I go to my neighbor. But when I go to my neighbor can't help me. So my neighbor goes to his neighbor for help. So his neighbor helps him first. And I regroup these into tens. So now that I have 10 tens, then I have some I can help. So now this neighbor can help my ones. So instead of 10 tens, I now have 9 tens. And now I have 10 ones because I've moved a 10 over there. So this is how you would regroup if you needed to regroup all of these on a across zeros problem. So 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 minus 5 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Does 7 plus 3 equal 10? Yes. Does 4 plus 5 equal 9? Yes. Does 1 plus 4 equal 5? Yes. Okay, so what I want you to do for number 6 through 9, just these 4 problems, I want you to pause the video. I want you to solve these problems and then press play when you are finished. And when you come back, I will solve them and you can check your work. Go ahead. Okay, if you're back, that means you have solved 6, 7, 8, and 9, and you're ready to check your work. So I'm going to solve these, and you check your work and correct any mistakes you may have. 438 rounded to the nearest hundred is 400. 257 rounded to the nearest hundred is 300. 400 minus 300 is 100. So I'm estimating my difference to be about 100. 8 minus 7 is 1. 3 minus 5 I cannot do. I'm going to borrow and regroup. 13 minus 5 is 8. Good. 3 minus 2 is 1. Now I go backwards. 1 plus 7 equals 8. 8 plus 5 equals 13. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Checked it. Number 7. 706 rounded to the nearest hundred. 681 rounded to the nearest hundred. Ooh, we are saying the difference will be about 0. So it's going to be less than 50, because if you rounded it to the nearest hundred, it would round to 0. So that means our answer is going to be less than 50. 6 minus 1 is 5. 0 minus 8 I cannot do, so I'm going to borrow and regroup. 10 minus 8 is 2. 6 minus 6 is nothing. Check my work. 5 plus 1 equals 6. 2 plus 8 equals 10. Nothing plus 6 equals 6. 25 rounded to the nearest hundred, like we did on our estimate, would be 0. Okay. Number 8. 838 rounded is 800. 754 rounded is also 800. Another estimate of 0, and like I said before, because we rounded to the nearest hundred, that basically just means that our answer is going to be 49 or less. 9 minus 4 is 5. 3 minus 5 I cannot do, so I'm going to borrow and regroup. 13 minus 5 is 8. 9 minus 4 is 5. Okay, so 5 plus 4 is 9, yes. 8 plus 5 is 13. So this is not exact, so I'm actually going to redo my estimate to check. What if I rounded to the nearest 10? 840, 750, 0, 7, 14. 14 minus 5 is 9. So if I round to the nearest 10, it's much closer. which we've talked about this in other videos, that if you round to the nearest 10, your estimate is going to be much more accurate than if you round to the nearest 100. However, when we round to the nearest 10, often with subtraction, we still have to regroup, which makes a lot of extra steps. Okay, look at number 9. 916 rounded to the nearest 100 is 900. 558 rounded to the nearest 100 is 600. Oh, I'm using the wrong color. Whoops. 900 minus 600 is 300. So we're estimating our difference to be about 300. I've mixed up the colors on you, sorry. 6 minus 8, I cannot do it, so I'm going to go to my neighbor, borrow, and regroup. 16 minus 8 is 8. 0 minus 5, I cannot do that. So I'm going to borrow, regroup. 10 minus 5, 8 minus 5. Now let's go backwards and check our work. 8 plus 8 equals 16, yes. 5 plus 5 equals 10, yes. 3 plus 5 equals 8, yes. Perfect. All right, let's do some word problems. Go deeper. Well, that right there tells you that this word problem is probably going to have multiple steps. So let's read it carefully and let's mark any important words. A train travels a distance of 872 miles. Then it travels another 342 miles. The train then travels another 403 miles. Ooh, more. More says subtract when it says how many more. How many more miles does the train travel on the first part of the trip than, subtraction clue, on the second and addition clue, third trips combined, another addition clue. So it looks like we are going to be adding and subtracting. Okay, how many more miles does the train travel on the first part of the trip than on the second and third trips? So before we can even subtract, we need to do our addition. We need to add the second and third trips combined. We need to add them together. So the second trip was 342. You can do this in your math journal. I'm going to throw it on the side. 342. And the third trip was 403. We're going to add those together. 2 plus 3 is 5. 4 plus 0 is 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. Okay, so those two trips combined is 745 miles. But our question says, how many more miles does the train travel on the first part than on the second and third? So now you need a subtraction problem. And notice it doesn't say about how many, so I'm not rounding to estimate. Remember, if you're confused about which number should go on top, in a subtraction problem, it's always going to be the larger number that goes on top. 2 minus 5, I can't do it, so let's regroup and 12. There we go. 12 minus 5 is 7. 6 minus 4 is 2. 8 minus 7 is 1. So there's the first trip travels 127 more miles. Okay. Okay, let's look at this one. So here, this is talking about how can he combine the place values. Okay. We did not do combining the place values. Okay. We're just going to subtract using the place values. Combining the place values can make it much more confusing for you. So we're going to actually X out number 11. Okay, what I would like for you to do is in your math journal, go ahead and solve 12, 13, 14, and 15. Once you have finished solving these 4 problems in your math journal, then you can go back to your folder for today in Math on Schoology, and you'll notice there are 2 PDFs. I want you to pick one of the PDFs, either print it off and solve, or use your math journal to write the problems down. And I want you to complete at least one PDF of subtracting using place value.